Leaving our deluxe Hilton hotel in Hanoi. Reluctantly, it's been a wonderful visit here at the Hilton and this great old city, but it's time for another adventure. We are going to be driving out of town with our leader, Antonio.
We are going to Halong Bay, a World Heritage Site, so designated by UNESCO.
Passing the Hanoi Opera, modeled after that famous opera in Paris, and driving through the city. There's quite a bit of traffic in Hanoi, of course, but soon we're out into the countryside, driving through the farmlands.
So good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Okay, how are
Good. Yeah. So we are on the way from Hanoi to Halong-Bay, and Antonio told you about 3 hours by car from here to Halong-Bay. So we are always on the highway from here to Halong City. We are on the new highway. So you can see the life of the farmer along the way we go as well. You can see the rice field, the rice paddy, and the water bar flowing cow along the way we go as well.
It's really quite wonderful to see these farmers in such a ecological practice. They've got their cows pulling, their water buffaloes pulling the plows. They don't have to put gasoline in the machine, although there are some machines here to help out as well too. But it's a great system they've got for growing rice. They get several crops a year out of these farmlands.
So you see how difficult is the life of the farmer here. Always the hand working, no machine also. So the one farmer here, they got about only 400 square meters from the government for farming. For one farmer in the north of Vietnam, I mean, it's a very little also. And all they work by hand, not by the machine.
Now, that's pretty difficult. She was saying 400 square meters per farmer. That's only 20 yards by 20 yards. That's quite a small area to be farming. There's a huge cannon factory, employs thousands of workers. And we have now arrived at Halong Bay, boarding our deluxe ship, the Emeraude. This is a reconstruction of an old steamship from the 19th century, although this one is quite modern and up to date.
Good afternoon, sir. Welcome on board.
Thank you.
How are you?
Very good. Nice. Okay. Thank you. It has the best 5-star service on Halong Bay. We're off to a good start. Up on deck, there's comfortable deck chairs, there's different vistas all around as we begin our journey into the famous Halong Bay. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site and most famous for these limestone islands that rise vertically up out of the sea. Very comfortable to see it from our Emeraude ship. This is really a great way to visit the bay. And the weather was okay. It was, as you see, kind of cloudy, but well, that's part of the atmosphere here at Halong Bay. After all, you could come on a sunny day and that would be different too. Certainly bright sunshine and green hilltops would be nice to see, but it has its own special mystical quality on this kind of a cloudy day. A little bit of overcast. It's very easy on the eyes. And then we're leaving our ship for a little excursion. This is one of the famous activities that you generally take when you go out to Halong Bay. You go visit one of the caves. There's a floating village of fishermen. There are several hundred caves. The bay itself has got nearly 2,000 islands, and many of those have caves such as Hang Sung Sat. This is perhaps the most famous of all the caves for the visitor. As we climb the steps, there's a nice vista looking down on the other ships at dock and into the cave, and it is spectacular. This is a limestone cave, and they've put in all of this dramatic, colorful lighting to help you out. So it's really easy to get around. There's well-marked paths, and there's some railings here and there to help you out. Staircases to get you from one chamber to the next, and it gets bigger and bigger. This is the grand chamber, the biggest of the 3 major chambers. You've got these stone pillars naturally holding up the ceiling of the cave. Makes truly a spectacular setting. And it's nice and cool in here. Just takes about a half an hour maybe to walk through. It's a little tricky for photography. Flash doesn't work too well, so you want to use the lighting that they've provided, such as that colorful dramatic backdrop there. Try and prop your camera up and hold it steady, maybe rest your camera on a rock so that you get a stable photo, because it's relatively dark inside after all. It's okay for your eyes. And then back out into the daylight, looking once again down at the ships as we wend our way along the dock area and head back on our transfer boat that will bring us back to our cruise ship, back to the Emeraude. Well, that's a very nice kind of a day activity. And then there's always food. This ship is a gourmet feast, a floating first-class restaurant with a buffet dinner, a buffet breakfast. It's really the most elegant ship on Halong Bay. Now, there's a variety of other ships that you could pick from in all sorts of price ranges, from the basic backpacker up to the 4-star tourist, or, as we're enjoying, 5-star deluxe. Next morning, get some coffee, and the weather's a little bit better. It's cleared up a little bit. We can see the islands quite nicely. Have some coffee to open our eyes. Enjoy a nice buffet breakfast and enjoy the company of other people on board the ship. They've got some morning Tai Chi to help wake you up. The ship holds about 60 people, and so that's enough that you'll have some nice conversations with some folks, run into a few people of interest, but it's never crowded on board the Emeraude. Most of the ships in the bay are similar size or smaller, very comfortable, easy to navigate, and then the next morning, midday, you're back in port.